Thank you. We'd like to open this meeting, call this session to order. Let's see, who wants to do the flag salute? Ben, would you lead us in the flag salute, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ayala,
Here.
Councilmember Rhodes.
Here.
Councilmember Judge,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lester,
Here.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Here. Are there any items for agenda review?
There are no items, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you.
I move that all resolutions and ordinances presented tonight be read in title only and all further reading be waived.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, are there any reports from closed session?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing to report out of closed session. Thank you.
Thank you. If any member of the City Council may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda, he or she should so declare at this time. Seeing none, we can move on.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, first on the agenda is item 1D1, presentation of the certification of commendation to Fire Captain Malcolm Dix for his heroic efforts during the Palisades Fire, and Deputy City Manager Heather Samagasai is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and members of the community. I think we're good now. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and members of the community. Tonight, we recognize Fire Captain Malcolm Dix of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. And we are especially proud to honor him because he is also a Simi Valley resident. His actions reflect the courage, professionalism, and dedication we value in the fire service and in our community. The Ventura County Fire Department proudly provides fire and emergency services to the city of Simi Valley, and our firefighters work closely with neighboring agencies such as LA County Fire. Through California's mutual aid system, fire agencies regularly work together during large-scale incidents to protect lives and communities. The Palisades Fire in January 2025 was one of those incidents in which firefighters from across the state worked together under extremely dangerous conditions. During the fire, a resident named Patty Phillips was attempting to evacuate with her dog when her vehicle became stuck on a rock along a narrow dirt road, leaving her trapped as the flames and heavy smoke quickly surrounded the area. Captain Dix responded without hesitation, driving into the active fire zone after Mrs. Phillips' husband, James, reached out and pleaded for help. He located the stranded vehicle and safely rescued Mrs. Phillips and her dog from the advancing fire. Patty later said she believed she was going to die before help arrived. Because of Captain Dix's courage and quick action, she survived. Moments like this remind us of what being a first responder is truly about: showing up when people need help the most, staying calm in the face of danger, and putting the safety of others before your own. Tonight, the city of Simi Valley is proud to recognize LA County Fire Captain Malcolm Dix for his heroic actions during the Palisades Fire. Malcolm, thank you for your courage.
And one thing that also wasn't included, you weren't even working. You were off duty at the time. So that's even one more reason to thank our first responders and their dedication to us and our community. So thank you. And this is the second time I get to see you recognized. So that's why Councilmember Rhodes and I were at your other assembly, and it just really struck us so in our hearts that we really wanted to make sure that your city also recognized you. So thank you very much. Did you want to say anything?
Once again, thank you very much. I'm humbled to get this award.
especially for my hometown. My wife is born and raised in Simi, and I call it now my home. And it's been, since we've lived here 12, almost 14 years, maybe now. It's now my home. So thank you very much for everything, and thank you for the other fire departments and police departments that are represented here today. They also did a good job. We were just talking to Chief Horton on everything that we were doing together at the same time. So again, thank you very much for this award, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Captain. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Oh, come on down. And I'll tell you what I told one of the other captains. You know, captains are more important than battalion chiefs, aren't they? I won't tell you which captain I said that to. Very good. Thank you very much. We can move on, Madam Clerk.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, the next item on the agenda is item 2, public statements on appointments, special presentations, and informational reports, and we have no speakers for this item. And we're moving on to public statements. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next item on the agenda is item 4, public statements. Since there are no public hearings under agenda item 5, agenda item 4 and 6 are combined, and the City Council will hear all public statements under this agenda item 4. Agenda item number 4 and agenda item number 6 are the times allotted for public statements on all items other than the public hearings, appointments, and informational reports. Speakers will be called in the order of which their card was submitted to speak for the public statements. Item 4, for a period of no more than 3 minutes each. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Madam Mayor, unless you have any comments, we will begin our public statements.
You may proceed. Thank you.
Okay, I will be calling 3 names at a time so you know who you'll follow. The first 3 names are Ben Davis, Dale Stenyer, and Michael Shaw.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Ben Davis. I'm a resident here in Simi Valley. President of Piccola Tiny Homes, and I thank you again for your time, and thank you for the positive feedback many of you shared after my last comments. Last time, I spoke about the housing gap in terms of cost and policy. Tonight, I want to speak about it in terms of people. I know of a young man who grew up here in California and wanted something very simple, to buy a starter home, stay close to his family, and build a future in the community he loves. But despite working hard and planning responsibly, he could not make homeownership work here, so he moved to Texas, not because he wanted to leave his family, but because he felt he had no other realistic choice. I purposely didn't mention his name but I'm sure most of us in this room are thinking of a person that matches this scenario. That story says a lot about where we are. The housing crisis is not just driving up prices, it is pushing families apart. Young adults are leaving the communities that raised them. Seniors are looking for ways to downsize without losing proximity to their children and grandchildren. Homeowners need practical housing options that are more attainable than many traditional ADUs. Movable tiny homes can help fill that gap. These homes can provide a smaller, more flexible housing option while still being regulated in a clear and responsible way. And the process can be straightforward. For example, the homeowner submits an application, the city reviews elevations, site plans, setbacks, and utility connections. Proof of certification and DMV registration would be required. Utility inspections are completed before occupancy. The city conducts a final inspection, and every 4 to 5 years, a renewal can verify that the unit remains compliant. That is a proven process, a simple and manageable process, a process that protects the beauty of our community while expanding opportunity. Simi Valley has an opportunity to create a clear ordinance that protects safety, preserves neighborhood character, and gives families another housing option that meets today's realities. This is a chance to help seniors age in place, help adult children stay near family, and help homeowners respond to rising costs with dignity and flexibility. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Mayor, Pro Tem, and all the other council members, whatever. Anyway, I'm here again on behalf of filming and how much I want filming here in Simi Valley. In a film, there's at least 12 locations that a production company uses. And so far, what I've seen, and I've gone around where production has been, they've only chosen like Macy's at the town center, maybe one house here, that may be listed in LA. But anyway, I want to list other properties, and I need a broker. So if anyone knows of a broker, I don't know if I can say that or ask that, but I'm putting it out there. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And you, sir, have invited me to the committee meeting whenever you have one. Well, if I haven't said it, and I probably already did, I have a couple companies that are in pre-production right now. I don't want a piece of the pie. I want the whole pie. I want the whole pie, and we deserve it. It's more income coming into the city. So anyway, that's about it. I have business cards. Whoever doesn't have one, who's lost one, I might look at you oddly because you lost it. You can put it on your refrigerator or your wallet. I'm not going to check on you, but I'll know. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Three minutes, all right. Hi, everyone. I missed everyone. Haven't been around for a little bit. But I'm back, like a bad dream, like a bad penny. So you guys should have known we're talking about bicycles. I had to show up. I had to. And here I've bugged you guys for years now that we need a bicycle master plan. Yap, yap, yap. Where's our bicycle master plan? And now we're talking about coming out with one. And I'm going to ask you guys, wait a minute. Let's try and kick this can down the road a little bit. Keep in mind the effort we go through to even put out an RFP for the consultants to come up with this bicycle master plan. By the time we go through all of that process, the e-mobility, not just e-bikes, but the e-mobility has taken off, and it's changed the landscape. And believe me, this is not the only city, municipality across the nation that is grappling with this problem. And there's been horrible accidents all over. So yes, we do need to do something, but what we need to do is take a minute and really look at our bicycle master plan. Again, we applaud ourselves because we came up with some rules and regulations. And I've stood at this and said, we cannot regulate this problem away. We have to invest in the infrastructure to give these people a place to use their devices, no matter what it is, no matter the wheel size. We need to give them a place. And to that point, and look in the bicycle master plan, 2 of our high schools are on Cochrane. Cochrane is a dangerous street to ride a bike on. It has no class whatsoever, not class one. It's a zero. It is a dangerous thoroughfare to think that you could ride a bike down it. And we put 2 of our high schools on it. So let's take the time out. We don't have to throw the bicycle master plan away, but maybe we can amend it a little bit to start to give some forethought to, yes, we need to make Cochrane passable for a bicycle so the kids can ride to school, for crying out loud. And again, I appreciate the fact that you guys are talking about a bicycle master plan. I just want to make sure it's one that's going to have some significance for us as a community moving forward. Because right now, as you well know, some knucklehead riding around LA saying vote for me doesn't work. It's dangerous. So again, let's take our time maybe and push this adopting the bicycle master plan down for a little bit. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
The next 3 that wish to speak are Eileen Eason, Anthony Eason, and James McGillis.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh, council members, city attorney, and city manager. My name is Alyn Eason, and I have lived in Simi Valley 41 years. 1 year ago, on March the 10th, 2025, I spoke for the first time at a city council meeting. Tonight will be the 15th time I'm speaking as a proponent to ban STRs. Please put short-term rentals back on the agenda for the next city council meeting. There is no legitimate reason to wait 6 to 8 weeks before you take action on an ordinance to ban all STRs. I would like to thank all 4 neighborhood councils for their input and recommendation to ban STRs citywide. Kelly Duffy, you did a great job as Community Services Coordinator overseeing the meetings. Also, I would like to thank the Planning Commission for their deliberation and unanimous decision to ban STRs. And a big thank you to everyone who attended last Wednesday night's Planning Commission meeting to support this issue. The petition signed by over 430 people, voting of all 4 neighborhood councils, and the unanimous vote from the Planning Commission, 4-0, are all confirmation and endorsement that people in Simi want STRs banned. It is time for this council to realize that the advisory boards which represent the people who live here have provided you with valuable input supporting our viewpoint, which is to ban all STRs. Please listen to the will of the people and your appointed advisory boards, neighborhood councils and planning commission, and do what's right. Have staff create an ordinance for a citywide ban on STRs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anthony Eason. I'm a 41-year resident of Simi Valley and an advocate for a ban of short-term rentals in Simi Valley. Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh, Mayor Pro Tem Lister, Councilpersons Judge, Ayala, and Rhodes, City Attorney Ford, and City Manager Argabright. After nearly 16 months of considering only legislation to legalize and regulate short-term rentals in Simi Valley, it's time for you to put STRs back on the agenda and direct staff to draft an ordinance to ban them citywide. Some of you have made the unsupported assertion that bans do not work because listings still appear where they are banned. At the last city council meeting, I gave data that indicated there are probably as many, if not more, STR violators in cities where they are regulated. Many laws are violated daily. Using your logic, all laws that are violated don't work. You have been presented with petitions requesting you ban STRs in our city. All 4 neighborhood councils rejected your ordinance, and 2 of them recommended a ban. Now the Simi Valley Planning Commission has recommended denial of the proposed ordinance and advised the city council to direct staff to prepare an ordinance establishing a citywide ban on STRs. Are you listening? What else do you want or need to proceed with a ban? Do you literally need an STR to fall out of the sky and land on top of you like Dorothy's house did on the Wicked Witch of the East? I think there's enough evidence that a ban is wanted and legalization with regulation is not. There shouldn't be a reason it takes 6 to 8 weeks for this to come back to the city council's agenda. There are no changes needed to be made to an ordinance that is not wanted. I urge you to get this back on the city council's agenda as soon as possible and direct staff to get working on an ordinance to ban. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the City Council, and staff. I'm James McGillis, 19-year resident now of Simi Valley. 217 years ago, our founders brought forth a new city known as Simi Valley, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all natural persons are created equal. Now we are engaged in a short-term rental war, testing whether that city or any city so conceived and dedicated can long endure. We are met here tonight on a great battlefield of that conflict. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a graveyard where the specter of dark money and corporate interests still prevail. Many will seek solace and safety in their homeowners associations, while others will find a final resting place next door to a motel. Those motels next door shall be constrained to only 38% of this city. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should consecrate those neighborhoods as graveyards to home ownership. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave people, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never be forgotten what they did here. Last night I had a dream. I was in the dreaded valley looking toward the beloved Simi Hills. There, ascending Rocky Peak, was a series of dark money tornadoes. On the other side, one vortex descended upon Amarillo Avenue, destroying a home and leaving it in 6 distinct pieces. There, amid the destruction, stood the spirit of Abraham Lincoln. Mr. Lincoln turned to me and he said, "Jim, a house divided shall not stand." When I awoke, I searched the web and found the Amarillo Lodge Villa, standing where a tornado of dark money had destroyed that home. It had transformed into a complete planned development with 6 new units. They included a converted garage, 2 halves of the original house, an ADU, a junior ADU, and a short-term rental, all with shared laundry. Some units were called houses, others were condominiums or apartments. Yes, it is true. While our city waffled about the merits of legalizing or banning short-term rentals, dark money descended upon Simi Valley and hacked a single home into 6 separate dwelling units. Now it will take untold amounts of staff time and money to shut down this illegal entity and force it back into legal compliance. This is a test whether this city under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that a government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from its neighborhoods. Wait, no more. It is time for the City Council to stop this ongoing insanity and ban all short-term rentals. This is a true story. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next 3 to speak is Heather Moss, Jill Abell, and Todd, I believe it's Taylor.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, Ms. Argabright, and Mr. Ford. My name is Heather Moss, 15-year Simi Valley resident and member of the local business community. I am here tonight with an update on the issue of short-term residential rentals. After careful evaluation and public input, Simi Valley's Planning Commission voted 4-0 to recommend a citywide ban on all short-term residential rentals. The commission reached the decision to ban all STRs after thoroughly weighing the impact STRs have had on our city and considering possible alternatives, including various regulatory approaches. Their conclusion was clear. Any regulatory scheme allowing STRs would not adequately address or resolve the issues, and any STR program would be costlier to implement, regulate, and enforce over time. STRs give a relentless rotation of strangers unfettered access into our neighborhoods. A ban is the only responsible remedy to this chronic intrusion. Residential neighborhoods are meant for residents, not commercial lodging. The Planning Commission recognized that STRs undermine the character, safety, and stability of our neighborhoods. At the same time, Simi Valley faces a housing shortage. Homes turned into transient lodging only worsens the long-term rental and home sales market here. Most STRs are investor-owned without an on-site host and are not contributing to our community or our economy. Simi Valley already has appropriate commercial lodging for visitors. Our city has at least 6 hotels and motels designed for transient guests, all properly licensed, zoned, inspected, insured, built to rigorous safety standards, and required to collect and remit transient occupancy tax. No STR meets these requirements. The city's own statistics show a high hotel vacancy rate, nearly 30%, suggesting that STRs are siphoning business from legitimate establishments. This unfairly harms lodging businesses that follow the law and invest in meeting city's safety, zoning, and tax requirements. Simi Valley residents want a ban. Hundreds of community members signed petitions supporting that citywide STR ban. An ordinance banning all STRs must include accountability for the platforms and facilitators that advertise and arrange them. Liabilities and penalties should apply not only to owners and hosts, but also to the websites and booking venues involved. Cities such as San Francisco have implemented STR bans this way with considerable success. Requiring platforms to cease allowing STR listings and bookings in Simi Valley will be vital to effective enforcement. I volunteer my legal expertise to assist in drafting such an ordinance. The next step is in your hands. Please vote to ban short-term residential rentals citywide. Ban them now. Please put it on the agenda.
Ms. Moss, your time is up. Thank you.
Last of the public statements today is Tyler.
It's okay. I'm sorry, I don't have a Gettysburg Address tonight. That was really creative. My name is Jill Abala. Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and City Council. I'm a cyclist, an avid cyclist and a proponent of safe cycling, and I appreciate some of the past projects like the Arroyo Simi Greenway, which I use quite a bit. So I've been following the bicycle master plan update quite a bit. In fact, going to the workshops, I've spoken with the consultants, and I went to some of the neighborhood council meetings. So I've been following this closely, and I feel like some of my concerns haven't been addressed in the final document and the resolution that you're going to vote on tonight. So I'll quickly list these. One, actually, Mr. Shaw mentioned the distinction between e-bikes and electric motorcycles and scooters, and I feel like that is muddled a bit in the document, but also we're not thinking about the future and how that's going to explode in usage. Pedal bicycles, the sales have fallen off the face of the earth, and what's going now is not just e-bikes, but scooters you can get very inexpensively. That's the future of transportation, and those will be in traffic lanes. The goals of the BMP are noble, but somewhat outdated, because the reality is we live in a suburb, and we use our vehicles to transport our kids to school, to their after-school activities, trips to the store like Costco, and a bike is simply not a substitute for that. And the study doesn't tell us that all of these projects will result in increased bicycle usage, which is the stated goal. And I would say that based on my consumer research background, the data is primarily was collected from cyclists, and that biases the outcome of the study. We didn't really, I don't think, collected input from drivers or residents that might be affected by some of these projects. 4 of the top 10 projects identified require the removal of traffic lanes and possibly residential parking. So I just want to be sure that if these projects come forward, that we gather input from those affected residents and the businesses that might be affected by that. If I remember, an automobile lane was replaced with a bicycle lane on Fitzgerald Road last year, and it resulted in some severe congestion. And I think we reversed some of that work. So it was possibly not an effective use of taxpayer money, but a major headache and indigestion for the motorists involved. This proposal seems to advocate for removing lanes on Los Angeles Avenue, like an entire lane, which roughly parallels the Arroyo, which doesn't make much sense to me. And if it causes congestion on Los Angeles Avenue, how is that going to impact our businesses and people getting in and out? And maybe they'll avoid shopping altogether. So I just urge you to please be sensitive to residents and business concerns before you proceed down this bicycle path, and consider the future of the electric motorcycles and scooters and the impact to our traffic before we proceed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and council members. My name is Todd Taylor. I've been a Simi Valley resident for over 16 years, a homeowner for 13 years, and a small business owner. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight regarding short-term rentals. First, I want to acknowledge that many residents have raised legitimate concerns about short-term rentals. No one wants party houses, excessive noise, parking problems, or disruptions in their neighborhoods. However, a complete ban would punish responsible homeowners while failing to address the real issue, nuisance properties. For many families, especially with the rising cost of living in California, the ability to occasionally rent their home, ADU, or even a room can provide important supplemental income. That income can help cover mortgages, insurance, and unexpected expenses. It can also help families remain in the homes and communities they love. Short-term rentals can also bring visitors to Simi Valley who support our local restaurants, shops, and businesses. Rather than a blanket ban, I encourage the city to consider a balanced regulatory approach that protects neighborhoods while allowing responsible homeowners to operate under clear rules. Another concern I've heard is that regulating short-term rentals may be difficult to enforce. In reality, cities today have several practical tools available, and many are already using them successfully. These include permit and registration requirements limiting rentals to a primary residence, occupancy and parking limits, quiet hours, and a three-strike policy where repeat violations result in permit revocation. Current technology, along with the recent enactment of SB 346, allows cities to identify listings online and track unregistered properties, making enforcement much easier than it was just a few years ago. The city could also collect transient occupancy tax from short-term rentals, generating additional revenue to help support local services. These types of policies focus enforcement on the small number of problem properties rather than punishing the majority of the responsible homeowners who follow the rules and respect their neighbors. Simi Valley is always valued both strong neighborhoods and responsible property ownership, and I believe we can craft a policy that protects neighborhoods while treating responsible homeowners fairly. I respectfully encourage the council to pursue reasonable regulation rather than a complete ban so that we can protect neighborhoods while still treating responsible homeowners fairly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Last public statement this evening is Tyler Barkwell, and this is for agenda item number 9.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman. My name is Tyler Barkwell. I'm a Simi Valley resident of 40 years. Longtime listener, first-time caller. I have not been to one city council meeting prior to this and have not addressed the council before this. So appreciate your time and listening to me. In regards to Agenda 9, the Bicycle Master Plan, I appreciate the outreach that the city has done. It's how I first became aware of the updates that were coming due. Part of that outreach was also supposed to include some information about when the updates were being announced and next steps. So I didn't even find out about this agenda item if it wasn't for a friend of mine that posted that. So moving forward, the Bicycle Master Plan addresses a lot of shortcomings that I've seen and addressed during the outreach. I will call out a challenging section of the roads here in Simi. was brought up earlier in one of the other comments, and that's the section between Erringer and Madera. East of that, lot of good bicycle infrastructure. From starting at Erringer, that bicycle infrastructure is severely limited. And if you were to come from the valley, take GPS and say, tell me the best bicycle route to come through Simi Valley, it would tell you to continue all the way down LA Avenue from east to west. If you attempt that, you're going to run into a very dangerous section starting at Erringer, where there is a bike route, but you are sharing a lane of traffic, which presents a very dangerous area. And there's not many other options. There is Cochrane, there's Erringer, but you are very limited in the options there. So the plan, I think, correctly calls out to install a bike lane there. It will come at a cost of a traffic lane. But as we've seen, I'm involved in another organization that is advocate for road safety in LA. They just had an incident where the bike lane was installed, then removed, and they saw a cyclist death as a result. So take that into consideration when looking at this and moving forward with taking lanes, because safety and cyclist lives shouldn't come at the cost of the convenience for a driver. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next item on the agenda is item 4A, City Council comments regarding public statements.
Are there any council members that wish to comment? Mayor Pro Tem Litster?
I just would like to thank all of you who for your comments. Thank you, and very varied, and I appreciate. I'm not going to address so much the bicycle comments right now because we're going to be talking about it later, but all of you have raised very valid issues, concerns, and there's much to be discussed about that plan, and it does very much affect future bicycling, I think, in the area. Ben, thank you for your continual coming to alert us to your beautiful option for homes here in Simi Valley. Dale, thank you for being here and speaking about filming. I don't know that I realized that filming tended to use 12 different locations, and that was an education to me. Certainly, we ought to scoop at least 10 of those 12 locations. In fact, this comes from someone who once used my home in a film because they drove by and said, well, as a homeowner, that was the loveliest thing. So I would love that for other people as well. I have to commend the Easons and McGilla and James and Heather. You have been the most diligent and proactive in terms of your feelings and opinions. And so I just want to commend you for your constant diligence, and happy anniversary if it really has been a year. That's, I commend you. I also, though, want to commend Todd. This is who is also, as I understand, a first-time caller. Thank you for coming forward with your comments as well. And I'll be honest, they resonated as, I'll share just anecdotally. At Christmas time in Utah, I rented an STR so I could be near my children. I found out afterwards it was a family who had cleared out their house so that I could use it for a week so that they could raise money for a cruise they wanted to go on to buy the airfare. And they had tickets, but they just needed, so you're right. Often it is a homeowner that just is looking for a little additional. But that's neither here nor there about where we're going forward with it. But I just wanted to say thank you for your perspective as well. Much appreciated. I think that speaks to most of what was, well, as I said, we'll come back to the whole fun conversation about bicycles in just a little bit. But again, thank you, all of you, for your comments and your details and statistics. Always appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, everybody, thank you for coming out, especially those of you first-timers. It's not easy standing down there. When I'm sitting up here, it's really easy. But when you get down there, I went to the county and tried to speak, and I got all nervous. So I thank you all for coming out and doing that and sharing your opinions and your thoughts. The bicycle plan has been a long time in the making, so it's good to hear that people read it and are concerned and are willing to bring forward things that they think are right or wrong with it. Dale, I will have the name for Anthony for you after this. And the Eastons and Mr. McGillis, thank you all. And Heather, thank you all for coming out. I can't believe you've been here 15 times. We're getting to be really good friends. So, but that's what our community is about, is being able to come out and speak and share your opinions and thoughts and try and make our community a better place for everybody. So thank you all tonight.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 7, the consent calendar, and there is one resolution for your consideration this evening. Consent item 6, resolution number 2026-04, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley approving program supplement number A942 to implement Highway Safety Improvement Program project number HSIPSL-5405, parentheses, 106, CP 6000055.
Councilmember Litzer. Excuse me, Mayor Pro Tem.
That's all right, all one the same. No, thank you. I would like to actually pull item number 1, but rather than discuss it, I'd like to actually have it be postponed to the next, held over to the next council meeting for discussion. There's some questions I have that I was unable to get the answer on them beforehand. Might be something that needs to be discussed in closed session, but that's the reason, is if it doesn't conflict with the deadline of when it has to be filed, and even if it does, I'd like to pull it for that.
Mr. Peros, can you approach the podium, please? What is the deadline that this document has to be returned?
We do have time, I believe, to have it for one meeting.
Okay.
Before we can turn it in.
Okay.
Thank you. I just want to be sure that what we send to the state is the language that we all agree with and want legally. So if that's all right, thank you. Mr.
Is there any opposition from the dais? Okay. No, so we will postpone item number 1. Thank you, City Manager.
Thank you.
May I have approval for the rest of the consent agenda?
I'll move consent on 2 through 6.
We have a first, we have a second. Call for the vote, please.
Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 8A, second reading of ordinance number 1367, amending Simi Valley Municipal Code Section 4-3.22, bicycle on sidewalks and side paths. The reading of the ordinance is as follows. Ordinance number 1367, an ordinance of the City of Simi Valley amending section number 4-3.22 of Chapter 3 of Title 4 of the Simi Valley Municipal Code, bicycles on sidewalk and side paths.
So we're here with the second reading. Instead of reading the whole thing over again, everyone has a copy of the amended ordinance as we were instructed from the last meeting. Highlighting A4 was the changing of or rewording the definition of a Class 3 electric bicycle. And then the second and final change that was made was under the enforcement number 3. Basically putting language in there which will allow if a officer removes a vehicle pursuant to our ordinances or 22-651.08 of the vehicle code, then it's going to require an individual to go to either some kind of bicycle safety and training program in order to get their device released from the police department.
Thank you. Just to introduce, we have Commander Mueller here and Sergeant McAllister. Sergeant McAllister is our traffic sergeant. So if you get a ticket, he's the one you want to talk to. Councilmember Judge, you want to comment?
I was just going to move the ordinance to second reading.
Second.
I do.
I have other people that want to speak first. So we'll go on to the next one. Mayor Pro Tem Litzer.
Thank you. I wanted to thank you for highlighting in yellow, so it was very clear the changes. The discussion I wanted, just to be clear, because on the same calendar, we're discussing the bicycle master plan. This ordinance is simply, I just want to be sure I'm understanding. This really has nothing to do per se with the bicycle master plan. It's just a way of enforcement or supervising the usage of these vehicles and basically having something in our books that allows a plan going forward and a desire to educate first. But could you speak to this, how it falls within the bicycle master plan or does not?
Yeah, Commander Mueller read the bicycle master plan. The ordinance that we're doing.
You read it twice? Well done.
The ordinance is basically we're updating to add the electric bicycle definitions in the ordinance, and then also some of the other amendments that California passed recently to allow us to do enforcement and to seize a Class 3 bike or an electric motorcycle or someone riding outside of a Class 3. So that's kind of, we just put those in the ordinance to kind of give us a little more authority or enforcement capability.
And you are correct. The ordinance stands alone per se. The bicycle master plan, the marriage, if you will, has to do with education. The bicycle master plan has multiple pages where education is part of the component, and that's something we would work alongside of the bicycle master plan with implementing.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you. And so this passes tonight. When does it become effective?
I think that'd be a question
30
for the
days
city
after.
attorney.
30 days after. So within the 30 days, is that the where we make sure that everyone's aware? We do like a outreach and all that great stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. I mean, I'm good. We spent a lot of time last time talking about this. There weren't many changes, so thank you for that update.
Thank you. Councilmember Judge, did you want to?
Actually,
oh,
there's one
sorry.
more comment to be made.
Commander?
Yes, you are correct. Once we have the second reading and it's approved, we will do nixles. We will put out education ad nauseum for the next 30 days. I mean, we don't want to surprise anybody. Education is the ultimate goal here.
Councilmember Judge?
I move to adopt ordinance number 1367 with modifications.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Call for the vote, please.
It disappeared. There it goes. Okay. Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda item is 9A, adopt a resolution approving the 2025 Bicycle Master Plan. The reading of the resolution is as followed. Resolution number 2026-05, a resolution of the City Council of City of Simi Valley adopting the 2025 City of Simi Valley Bicycle Master Plan. Public Works Director Ron Fujiwaki is here to present this item.
Oh, go back one. Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh and council members. Tonight, we are pleased to present the 2025 Bicycle Master Plan. Joining me this evening from city staff is Justin Link, our principal engineer and city traffic engineer, and from our consulting firm, CR Associates, Andrew Prescott, senior transportation planner and project manager. And before we begin, I do want to somewhat emphasize that this is kind of the Bicycle Master Plan is a blueprint for what would be ideal in terms of bicycling throughout the city, commingling with vehicles, and trying to make it as safe as possible, as well as provide connections for various locations and things that a bicyclist might want to go to. Any particular project that comes out of this plan will be brought back, will be further analyzed in terms of some of its impacts, including potential loss of traffic lanes, and will be brought back to the council for any further consideration. So with that, let me turn it over to Andrew to make our presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff, members of the public. Thank you for the opportunity to present the City of Simi Valley Bicycle Master Plan this evening. So we'll give a quick background on the project, an overview of existing conditions findings, as well as the community outreach process. We'll highlight the various recommendation categories that the plan touches on, describe prioritization and implementation steps, and then open it up for questions. So a little background on the project. What is a bicycle master plan? It really serves to guide the development of the city's bicycle infrastructure, as well as other investments in things like programmatic supporting programs like we heard about this evening. Some of the common elements or recommendations that it might consist of include goals, policies, infrastructure recommendations, educational programs, amenities, and other things to help make bicycling more safe, more accessible, and convenient. So why is the city going through with their bicycle master plan update currently? Well, the currently adopted plan was adopted back in 2008. And since that time, there's been changes in the city in terms of residential population growth, commercial development, as well as travel pattern shifts, both how, when, and where people get around. There's also been changes in legislation, some of which we heard about recently on previous items, as well as how bicycle infrastructure is designed. There's been updates to that as well. And growing trends, e-bikes, very common and gaining in popularity. Updating the bicycle master plan will also help serve to have Simi Valley comply with the Complete Streets Act. And it's really a tool to help position the city to be more competitive for future grant applications, such as Caltrans Active Transportation Program or HSIP, which we heard a previous item about earlier. So touching on the existing conditions report, this was one of our first deliverables that we produced, served to assess the current state of bicycling in the city. There are 4 key topics that we touched on related to connectivity, demand for bicycling, safety, as well as the quality of the environment. We'll step through a couple examples of each of those right now. For example, connectivity, we reviewed the existing bicycle infrastructure, where it's located, the type of facility or classification of bicycle facility. We also reviewed your currently adopted documents that identify planned improvements, such as the Envision Simi plan, which we incorporated some of those recommendations into this plan as well. We looked at demand using resources such as census data, population density, employment density, as well as cell phone data from apps such as Strava and big data applications such as Replica. We reviewed 5 years of collision data to understand where and why collisions are occurring. And we also looked at the quality of the existing environment and how those facilities provide for bicyclists in relation to the roadway environment they're in. So we used a best practices approach developed by the Moneta Transportation Institute that's referred to as the bicycle level of traffic stress, that takes into consideration the bicyclist perspective. So looking at how the bicycle facility relates to the posted speed limit, the number of travel lanes, and intersection approaches. To support the data analysis, we also conducted community outreach. It was organized around 2 key phases. One, the existing conditions phase, so learn from people what they think are the issues and their needs. And then also we rolled out the recommendations in a series of activities to get input on what those recommendations are, as well as to help inform the prioritization of the infrastructure recommendations. One of the activities that we conducted was what we call pop-up workshops, and that's really where we go out to the community. So we appeared at different farmers market days, as well as position ourselves at the Arroyo Simi Greenway trailhead at Erringer Road to capture people out using the facilities as they are today. We held different community presentations, including with various agency stakeholders. We presented to the Simi Valley Youth Council as well as the different neighborhood councils. We held 2 formal public workshops here at City Hall, again, touching on the existing conditions, and a second one during the draft recommendation phase. We had a digital presence as well. Project website, simivalleyBikePlan.com. It really served to mirror the in-person engagement, so people were able to view those draft deliverables, submit comments, participate in surveys, and really kind of share any info or any input that they might want to share at any of the in-person activities. We advertised the various activities and the surveys via social media posts primarily, and the city's distribution channels. Some of the key themes that we heard throughout our project was the desire for well-connected and safe facilities. So a lot of support for what's out there today, but some different gaps in the network identified. The Arroyo Simi Greenway was very popular at all our activities. A lot of people appreciate what it offers in terms of connections, but there were some concerns about it related to maintenance and just general personal safety, primarily related to lighting and evening hours. Access to the Arroyo Simi Greenway was another popular topic, and we'll touch on how we address that in the plan. There was also support for educational and enforcement programs, both for cyclists and for drivers. All right, getting into our recommendations. They touched on, we had goals that kind of drove the recommendation development, and those are the long-term kind of idealistic vision for bicycling in the city, and those are supported by a series of policies, as well as the bicycle network, Arroyo Simi Greenway access improvements, some design guidelines to help carry bicycle lanes through intersection approaches, and we also had supporting programs and other amenities to consider. For the purposes of this presentation, we're just going to step through the network and the Arroyo Simi Greenway access improvements. So before we present the network, just want to have a quick educational slide here. Caltrans currently recognizes 4 types or classifications of bicycle facilities. So your Class 1 bike path, that's like the Arroyo Simi Greenway. Today, it's generally shared by bicyclists and pedestrians, completely separated from the roadway besides at select crossings. Class 2 bike lanes, your traditional kind of 6-foot wide striped bike lane on the side of the roadway, provides a dedicated space for cyclists. A Class 3 bike route, present on Sycamore today, that just provides vertical signage or in-road sharrows, that's the little bike symbol with the arrow markings, to remind drivers that this is a route that's commonly used by bicyclists, and it helps provide positioning for cyclists in the roadway. The final classification is Class 4 cycle track, also referred to as a separated bikeway. Similar to a bike lane in that it provides a dedicated space for cyclists. However, instead of just a striped line, you have some sort of a physical separation between the cyclist and the vehicular travel lane. That could come in the form of bollards, which we have pictured here, or it could be raised curbs, or even on-street parking can be used. All right, and then this graphic presents the recommended bicycle network, depicting the existing facilities with the thinner lines and the recommended facilities with the thicker lines. Again, we include all of the bike facility types today, and this was developed in recognition of current best practices, as well as review of the current city's traffic volumes and trying to understand what we thought would be operationally feasible. The Arroyo Simi Greenway, again, a very popular topic, so we felt it definitely warranted a presence in the plan. While the Greenway is guided by the Arroyo Simi Greenway specific plan, and implementation of that is typically led by the Rancho Simi Park and Rec District, we felt that it definitely warranted some additional consideration in here. Given all that, the input that we heard on it, and really to help potentially make this project be leveraged for future grant applications should the city and/or the Park District want to pursue improvements. They can reference this in their grant applications and make them more competitive. So we looked at different operational signing and striping improvements that could help improve safety and access to those. Here's a few examples for consideration, both at formal intersection as well as some mid-block locations. All right, so stepping into prioritization. Once we had the draft network, we developed a prioritization process which was intended to help inform a potential implementation approach. I say inform because it's not a set list. I think implementation will really depend on a variety of factors. That could be grant funding criteria, which can vary from program to program. Could be evolving city needs, just different direction from council and other potential improvements going on in the roadway. The prioritization results really are intended to emphasize those projects that we understand to provide the greatest benefit to cyclists. The various inputs that we developed were largely in reference to typical grant criteria, so looking at things like previous collision history, the presence of schools, commercial areas, transit stops, population density. We also considered things like what's it going to take to implement a project. And then again, based on the significant support and input that we heard about the Arroyo Simi Greenway, we felt that warranted being its own input. So facilities that connect to the Arroyo Simi Greenway could receive higher priority. I'll point out the Arroyo Simi Greenway in itself was not prioritized, since those projects are typically led, again, by the Park District. So what we presented the various inputs to the public at the pop-up outreach, at the survey, and at the workshop, and asked, what three priorities are most important to you that we should consider when prioritizing? And unsurprisingly, connections to the Arroyo Simi Greenway ranked the highest, followed by safety, and then considerations for the posted speed limit along the roadway where the facility would be at. So we used that input to weight the respective prioritization inputs during the analysis. So again, increasing the weighting for those top three inputs as we scored them. The prioritization results then resulted in a list of all projects. Here's a quick snapshot of the top 10, or the highest 10 scoring. Just graphically shown here. So Topo Street at number 1, Stowe, Stearns, and so forth. And for each of those top 10 high priority projects, we developed what we call project sheets, consisting of a cross-section and a plan view image, initial cost estimates, as well as a narrative that gives not only an overview of the project, but also a constraints analysis. So some of the things that were pointed out about understanding what the traffic operations might be as a result of this project. So the constraints analysis identifies some of those potential challenges and also calls out the need for subsequent analyses as these things get closer to implementation. Our review looked at existing traffic volumes, but as we know, these projects won't necessarily be implemented this year or maybe even next. So as it gets closer to potential implementation time, subsequent analyses should be performed. Potential additional community engagement with affected property owners might be considered as well. This slide just kind of touches on some of the things that might be considered at that project analysis phase. So the need to maintain access to driveways, business access, potential intersection analyses might consider the need for the existing turn lanes and turn pockets, possibly the need for additional, and how the bike facility could transition. So we show an example here where a right turn only lane might be required at the intersection, so the cycle track would then transition to more of a Class 3 Sharrow just for that intersection approach, and then pick back up on the other side. So again, as to not interfere with the vehicular operations. Some additional information that we provided to support implementation are various design guidelines, so some references to best practices, some different ways to implement the facilities, as well as a whole suite of funding opportunities that the city might want to consider pursuing, and then also some recognition for various maintenance needs that would be required to implement and maintain these facilities. With that, I'll open it up to any questions. Thank you for your time.
Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you. I just want to lay foundational questions that might help guide the discussion. It says that we're not obligated to construct the recommendations that are in the plan. And I think this is what you were alluding to in the beginning. So if we decide to implement improvements for bike paths, can they be things that are not included in the plan?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
If we had 3 improvements that you wanted to start on, could they be based upon what you think we should do as opposed to or what's outlined in the actual plan here?
Yes.
It
Again,
could-
this is a blueprint,
Yeah.
a guideline.
Yep.
Things may change over the years. and-
Right. So I think that's very important because for people to know, because if we pass this, we're not saying what's in here is what has to be built, right? We're saying we're just adopting and saying this plan has been closed out, basically, right? It's non-binding.
Correct.
Yep. And then if we say, no, we're not going to approve this plan, then what's the alternative? There's just no plan?
Well, yes, I guess if you don't approve it, it may or probably will impact any funding grants or opportunities in the future, because I believe in order to get grants or qualify for grants, you do need to have an adopted bicycle master plan. So mostly in the funding area.
Yep. And then the final question for now is maybe to the city manager too. If we are people actively working on, let's say, putting in some improvements in place and working on grants, or is that something where the council would have to say, we want to have the staff look at 3 improvements to the bike lanes and work on grants to help fund them?
Staff does look at grants, and based on what the grants say are eligible, looks at the projects that we already have in sight. Now, obviously, in some cases, if the council has directed that there is something else that you want staff to focus on, then that would be a priority that we would also set. So outside of the grant arena, for example, the expansion of Township and the completion of that road, right? So that was not something that initially had been directed by council. So we had not pursued funding for that. However, after council directed that, we were able to identify funding to utilize for that.
All right, I'll pause for now because I know people have other questions.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Litster.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. It was very informative. And in full disclosure, I was biking the Arroyo on Saturday. It is really a beautiful asset, and I can see why people are very interested in access to that. I was concerned when I read the report that the school district declined to participate in this process. And I confess I even texted one of the school board members to find out, and I haven't heard back yet, why that might have been the case. Can you speak to that? Were they actively approached? I guess I'm concerned because that seems to me such a critical usage of bicycling here in our city. But I guess that my first question is, do you have a sense of why they declined or what that was involved with?
Defer to city staff here.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Litster. I don't have an honest answer for you. I know we reached out several times, both to the school district's PIO and various other staff to get them involved in participation. They just did not respond.
Which is really very disappointing. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, thank you. And to speak to some of the questions that were, well, let me back it up. In the conversations that you had with community members, do you feel like you adequately spoke with young cyclists, student-age cyclists, parents of student cyclists? Do you feel like that was adequately represented?
I thought we engaged with a variety of perspectives. That was kind of the intent of going to both farmers markets, being out at the trail, and then also your more traditional workshop here. We heard support. We also heard concerns about potential loss of vehicular travel lanes, for example. So I'd say just based on that, I had varying perspectives in response. I think so. We always want more engagement. We always want more attendance, but we recognize that coming out to a public workshop for a bike master plan at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday is not always how people want to spend their time. So again, that was kind of the intent of the digital platform and going out at those other events as well.
And I appreciate that. I guess this might be a question for staff. Can we, and my concern is I very much want to be, so some of the questions that are raised, Cochrane, for instance, we do have 2 high schools that are on Cochrane that are not, and Cochrane is not really part of this plan. I understand why, but at the same time, it's concerning because so many young people are accessible there, or, bicycle to and from. The other high school's on Royal, which is also not on the plan, and the middle schools. In fact, I thought, okay, Tapple Street, that's great, that could help Valley View Middle School. But anyway, I guess I'm very concerned about that element of it. Can we, this is the question, can we pass this tonight, but with an amendment saying it is not complete in our eyes, that we would like to very much involve the school district? It's not binding, but I guess you're right, but I guess I would love to know that we can add some.
It's a blueprint. Yeah, it's a blueprint. So yeah, so that there's some latitude that council has, obviously, if there's other projects that are identified.
Well, and I appreciate that, but what I'm also recognizing is that, so what is the process if we find, if we go out for granting or finding a project, what is the process for selecting where we channel those grant funds, or what becomes, I mean, you've given us a hierarchy based on your analysis, which is great, but what is the process if, let's say, someone from the school district came forward and said, wait a minute, we need access to Simi High. What is the process then, to add that or to put that into the queue?
Do you want to address that, gentlemen?
Well, I think in terms of first adopting the plan or not adopting the plan, you could adopt the plan as it is. We can go back out to the school district, talk to them, and maybe add an addendum to the plan at a later date. In terms of how we propose or how we would guide bicycle interest to the high schools, we could try to coordinate directly with the principals, some of their facilities people, et cetera. So, it will be, and if it's like my grandson, he has a car, so he's no way he's going to ride his bike to school. So when you're in high school, you get your driver's license and you get your car and you drive. You want to drive, so.
Until you get that really cool e-bike, which people love, and you're seeing more and more of that. And I see, anyway, that's I agree with that, but I think that's shifting a little bit because of that. But okay.
And if I could add a little bit, so that we encounter this sometimes when we're developing these plans. So the grant, what are eligible grant activities? This project was funded by a grant.
Mm-hmm.
We can't always do everything that we want to just due to that. So certain data collection or vehicular operational analyses we can't produce with these grant funds. So cities would sometimes undertake, say, a corridor study just for Royal, you referenced. We looked at Royal, we looked at Cochrane. The existing traffic volumes we thought were a little too high to remove a travel lane, and the
Great.
other option was to remove on-street parking, which is very heavily utilized.
Yeah.
The Class 3 bike route that has that Sharrow marking, due to recent legislation, you can no longer implement that if the roadway has a posted speed limit above 30 miles an hour. So I believe the 2008 master plan had Cochrane identified as a bike route, but since that has not been implemented, it's not grandfathered in, you can no longer implement that facility without lowering the speed limit. And
Wow.
we can't just lower the speed limit with this study. That would, again, or this bicycle master plan, you'd want to undertake probably a speed survey, understand the true kind of 85th percentile speed and what else is going on the corridor to make that. As stated, additional facilities would not be precluded by this plan. You can certainly leverage other opportunities, other data as it comes across.
Got it. Okay, thank you. That's very instructive and helpful. Appreciate it.
Councilmember Rhodes, you've been patiently waiting.
I wanted to address that question. Funding generally isn't, hey, I want to get a grant for bicycle stuff, and then we'll figure out what to do with it. It's, we have a project and we want to implement that. Let's go find a grant, or there's grant money for this particular type of project. If the school district jumped in and said, hey, we see there's a grant opportunity if you'll partner with us for this, there's nothing that says we can't jump to that project and go for it. It can still be a great idea. This just gives us the opportunity of saying, these are already identified opportunities for us to go get money. And in terms of, one of the things that you didn't put into your report that I appreciated was the Envision CME plan was also incorporated in this, where we already envisioned the possibility of losing a lane for a reason, and this would be an opportunity if we were doing that, maybe to get some bicycle funding to assist in the lane changing and start to create that downtown corridor so they can intersect and overlap, but by having the blueprint, we have the opportunity and the ability to say, yeah, we're already looking for this funding and get it. In general, I wanted to say that this is an outstanding work product. I guess I now chair the CEHD committee at SCAG, and I can tell you I'm not always impressed with how the grant money is spended on consultant reports and that sort of thing. I've made several complaints going, did we really pay for this information? I thought the outreach was pretty tremendous in this. That takes a lot of time and effort to do that many pop-ups and to get as much participation as you did. I too was surprised. I had to check off my question of why the school district didn't participate in this program, because it would have been, I think, informative and helpful. But yes, sitting on SCAG's committees, and Mike's the chair of the transportation, I'm now chair of CHD, Elaine sits in environmental. There's so many different opportunities for funding that now we can look at and go, oh, there's one. And further, the list of potential funding sources that you put in the document was so much more extensive than I could imagine. I'm sure staff's like, yeah, we already knew that stuff. But I thought it was just tremendous, so that we can now go grant hunting because we'll have an effective blueprint. So I wanted to thank your efforts for putting this forward. And for those that think we should delay this, that shows an error in the understanding of what this product is. It should be adopted and gives us opportunities to actually move forward on bicycle improvements in the city. And then, if you wanted to address, did you really feel that you had enough outreach, or would you like to have done more? Because someone brought that up, that it was only bicyclist focused. In reading the report, I didn't feel that way, but did you want to address that?
Yeah, I can expand on that. So I highlighted during the presentation, but not in the follow-up question. So another kind of avenue that we sought to communicate with the public was at the neighborhood council meetings. So again, standing meeting, people are aware of, and regular people are attending those that might not have an interest so much in the bicycle master plan itself. So they had an opportunity to learn about it and communicate. So I think that was another avenue that, again, kind of broadened the demographic or the folks that we engaged.
All right, thank you. Thank you for bringing and including the Arroyo Simi Greenway. You know, that was built with grants between the city and the park district, so we're very proud of that. And I was on the park board when we started it, and now I was sitting here when we finished it. So it is very well traveled, very well used. I could see where the access points, they would want more of those. I know even from my house to get to an access point is quite a ways. So, but the Arroyo is a natural growth, so we can't change it, but we can add to it. So I'm sure that will happen in the future. And just to clarify, prior to implementing any changes to this, we would reach out to the community again. I made that note because that's an important aspect of what some of the comments were here earlier. So this is a blueprint that can be changed. It's not a set in stone. It's not even set in a bicycle path. It's for us, it's an idea that we can grow on, utilize it, and change it as we need. And as the bicycles change and as the access points change, it can be adjusted. So I really thought that was great. You also mentioned, I'm just kind of clarifying a couple of things, the maintenance on the Arroyo Simi Greenway. Have you ever tried to deal with 3 government agencies at the same time? That's why. It's the city, it's the county water, and it's the park district. It's very difficult for the maintenance, but those of you out there that feel we need to do some more, just let us know and we'll get on it again. But thank you, Mr. Prescott. It was a very good presentation. I thought it was a great layout, and you've covered kind of the main thoroughfares that most people are concerned about. Mr. Link, thank you again for everything you've been doing, and Mr. Fuchiwaki. So unless there are any other questions or comments?
I'd like to ask a couple more questions. Just
Sure. Mayor Pro Tem Litzer.
Thank you. So with this blueprint, who is responsible within the city to actively say, okay, I would like the Tapo Street, I would like that to happen? Because is that going to be construction driven because something's happening on Tapo Street? Or do we have, or Justin, are you actively spending an hour every week looking for bike grants? I'm just, who is the guru in-house that's going to be actively looking at for bicycles?
I think that would be me, yes. So
Okay.
we would be identifying the projects and obviously bringing them back to council to gauge council's appetite as far as which projects we would move forward with. This provides priorities, obviously based on community feedback, but ultimately it would be the council's decision which projects we go forward with first. I will add with Envision CME, again, those plans contemplated removing lanes, providing bicycle facilities to, for lack of a better word, facilitate access in a more downtown core. So we would probably look for the low-hanging fruit with Tapo Street that's striping, and we've looked into doing that as part of some of the developments, the mixed-use developments that are occurring. Also in conjunction with Metrolink Score, because ultimately we're going to lose a lane on Tapo Street because of the way the intersection has to be configured at Los Angeles Avenue. So we would try to work those projects again together and then provide access to Arroyo Simi to the south where we don't have an access point. But again, we would be coming back to council to gauge your thoughts about which projects we move forward with and then pursue grant funding. The nice thing about having a bicycle master plan is that we get points. So if the project is identified in a master plan, whether it is the state of California, ATP, the Active Transportation Program, goes to the CTC, their scoring criteria, their rubric includes projects that are in bicycle master plans. So they give us extra points for having those. If we don't make it at the state level, then VCTC gives us extra points for having a project in a plan, or if it closes a gap, or if it's safe routes to school. So by having this plan, it puts us in a better position to get that funding, whatever that program might be.
Wonderful. I appreciate understanding that. Thank you, Justin. And what I'm hearing, my takeaway is that besides a very instructive, very good plan, but also critical, at least to have this in place, even if we want more, but to have this in place to get the process of funding, et cetera, started. And I might add that I would, because of that, would definitely be in favor of implementing this tonight, passing it. But I would strongly encourage that we reach back out as a city to the school and encourage them to say, please give us an addendum, and we'd love your input on what your vision is to connect with this plan. That would just be my desire, I think.
Yeah, we will continue to reach out to the school district and see what appetite they have for anything there. Councilmember Rhodes, I saw your finger.
One more comment, and it's just to dovetail when I sit in that committee on CHD, a lot of the Go Human active transportation plan, that all comes through this committee. And you know the ones that are like already baked into a master plan and ready to go are moving to the top of the list because they want to, if they have funding, they want it to be on basically shovel ready. And if our plan is already in place, we can do that. So again, thank you for the work product and getting this in place. And I'm like, oh, I think we can go get some funding. So, yeah.
My final question is, the program that you used, can we get a copy of it? The PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think it was very helpful and to show to the public too. So I like that. Thank you very much. Mr. Prescott, thank you. Mr. Link, Mr. Fuchiwaki, may I have?
I would be happy to move.
Thank you.
I move that the City Council adopt Resolution 2026-05 to approve the 2025 Bicycle Master Plan.
Second.
Call for the vote.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 10A, City Council Members' Reports.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilmember Ayala, you're up.
Thank you, thank you. Wednesday, February 25th, I had my touch base meeting with the city manager. On Friday, February 27th, I attended the Youth Employment Services interview workshop at Simi Valley High School, where I helped did interview skills with 3 different classes there. On Friday, also February 27th, I attended the subcommittee for our 4th of July Simi 250 event, the 2-day event we're going to have. And we did finalize, so for everyone to know, that on Friday the 3rd, we are going to start off with a 5K run. And then later in the day will be a car parade, which we designated a route for that. And we are going to also have in the evening a movie in the park. And so those are just 3 additional events that you can look forward to, and more will be forthcoming as we continue to plan it out. On Saturday, the 28th, I was part of Read Across America and read at the library. Also that night, I went to a fundraiser at Chewy's to support Body Brain Train. On Monday, March 2nd, continuing with Read Across America, I was at Barrowwood. Also on March 2nd, I met with community members in regards to the flock system. On March 3rd, I attended the Youth Council meeting. On March 4th, I met with our city manager and representative of the police department in regards to flock. And today, I attended the Council on Aging and made the announcement about the Southern California Edison workshop that we are now going to be doing. Thanks to staff for helping to put all that together. And that's going to be on Thursday, March 26th from 11 to 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On February 24th, I attended the Surf Economic Forecast event in Thousand Oaks and learned about the past year of how our economy went and the future year coming forward, their predictions. And one of their best predictors is the U-Haul Index. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. It's actually not only hysterical, but incredibly accurate. So, on February 25th, I attended the Chamber Legislative Affairs group online. On February, later that day, the 25th and 26th, I was in Sacramento, but not on city business. On February 28th, I participated in Read Across America, where another rousing rendition of Skippy John Jones and the Big Bones was heard. February 28th, I attended the For the Troops Gala honoring our Vietnam-era war veterans. On March 3rd, I participated in the SCAG CEHD briefing call in preparation for the week's meetings. On March 4th, March 4th was the Executive Administration Committee meeting of SCAG. On March 5th, We had the Community Economic and Human Development meeting of SCAG. The things of note were, and it pertains to the discussion we just had on the Bicycle Master Plan, the Connect SoCal 2050 vision, including population growth predictions and needs and vision for the area, which includes things like our intermodal transportation projects and so on. Also at that meeting, I was elected from vice chair to chair of that committee, and so I'll be moving forward this year, concentrating on RENA processes in that year. Later that day, we had our regional conference meeting. The thing of note was our annual budget review. This year's budget contains $263 million worth of spending, and when I say there's a pot of money that is available for grants for these type of things, that's the pot I'm referring to, and so hopefully we can get some and start some of our Bicycle Master Plan projects. Later that day, I attended the Clean Power Alliance, and I had a discussion about financial reserves for their stability, and we had a long discussion of cash on hand versus line of credit, and I won't bore you with the details. I was bored listening to them, but, and that ends my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Judge.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On Thursday, February 26th, I attended the Los Angeles Business Journal Valley Market Outlook and Trends Breakfast at Northridge University. It was a very interesting meeting. We heard from a panel of experts that mostly work in the Valley about different trends in real estate and business going on there, which kind of tend to flow over to us, thanks to our Assistant City Manager, Louis Garibay, because he was on one of the panels and was really proposing Simi Valley as a best place to do business in the area because of our lower sales tax and availabilities. So that was great, and it brought a lot of comments from the crowd, which was also very awesome. On Saturday, February 28th, I attended the Read Across America also. Next year, I'm bringing my own book. I didn't like any of the books they had there, so I'm going to bring my own. On Saturday, same day, I attended the Military Tribute Gala for the troops. They were honoring Vietnam-era veterans that night at the Ronald Reagan Library. Always a great event every year. It's well done, and it does honor our veterans, and that's always a great thing to see. On Tuesday, March 3rd, I attended also the pre-meeting for my transportation committee for SCAG, just to get everything straight for the meeting on Thursday. On Wednesday, March 4th, I too attended the SCAG EAC meeting, and Rocky already talked about what we did, so I'm not going to rehash it. On Thursday, March 5th, I did attend the SCAG TC meeting where I was also appointed or voted in for my second year as chair of the Transportation Committee for SCAG. During the Transportation Committee, we really didn't discuss much about that would pertain to Simi Valley, although I'm so happy we did pass the Bicycle Master Plan tonight because Rocky's absolutely right. If we want to start begging for money, getting grants, we need to pass the plan, otherwise nobody listens to you. Later that day, I attended the Regional Council meeting for SCAG, and Rocky already said what we did, so I'm not going to rehash that. Friday, March 6th, I attended the Ventura County Transportation Committee meeting where I am the immediate past chair, and got to talk about some things with our Caltrans reps for a business here in city, which was great, because hopefully they're going to get a meeting together with our city and figure stuff out so we can get some more industrial space built. Saturday, March 7th, I attended the memorial unveiling for a firefighter over at Station 45. Tommy, I don't remember his last name. That sucks. Minadio. Thank you, Tommy Minadio. That was a very nice event. They had a pancake breakfast first, and then we did an unveiling of the memorial out in front of the fire station. Very nice. I'm so sad that he passed. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Judge. Mayor Pro Tem Litster.
Thank you. First of all, actually, I would like to recognize that we have Dawn Smolin, the chair of the school board, who has attended our conversation. So I appreciate that she was here to hear our conversation about our desires of working with the school board in bicycle master planning. So thank you for being here, Dawn. My 2 weeks consisted of Tuesday, February the 24th. I too attended the CERF, the Center for Economic Research and Forecasting, Ventura County Economic Forecast I confess I had to leave early, so I was really, and I hated to leave early. It was really good. But my takeaway was very much the wonderful speaker who spoke about our national issues, and my takeaway is that we can't tax our way out of the huge deficits that we have. And that was, anyway, it was a very good presentation, though. Wednesday, February the 25th, I attended the Chamber Legislative Forum. I would say the summary is that it's time to start watching what's going on in Sacramento, because lots of things are starting to happen, and it will affect us. That afternoon, I serve on the SCE's Government Advisory Panel, and it was an interesting presentation about rates and how their rates are stacked, why they're stacked the way they are. It was an interesting comparison of SCE versus the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power and why their rates are higher. And I learned quite a bit about government-owned, who they don't have to charge taxes, versus how privately owned are regulated, et cetera. It was just very instructive, and happy to share more of that later. We were asked why we served on this committee, and so I appreciated having that time to say very clearly, I'm serving there because I'm very concerned about PSPS effects on our community, and also about the load availability that we have desire for industry, and sometimes the load isn't there, and so it was good to represent Simi Valley there. On Thursday, February 26th, I too attended the LA Business Journal Valley Market Outlook and Trends Breakfast, and thank you, Luis. Mr. Garibay did a very good job representing the city. Appreciated his comments and remarks, and the takeaway at the very end, as he finished his panel, they were all touting what they had to offer, but the last comments were about some of the negative externalities that businesses were facing in LA County, and I thought, boy, that was kind of a hard way for them to end, but good for Simi Valley. Anyway. The other thing on that day, on February 26th, I attended the Legacy in Color open house, the opening reception. In fact, I even brought with me this beautiful postcard just as a reminder. I wanted to commend, this exhibit is held over at our Cultural Arts Center. Some amazing paintings, both upstairs and downstairs. I would encourage everyone to go see it. It is curated by Marshall Toomey, who is a Simi Valley resident who worked for Disney, beautiful, and he's retired now, but has now continued painting, and just beautiful works. Some of his works are there, including they're very animated. One shows a barbershop getting a haircut, and another one shows him as a young boy, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, being smashed in the front row by some women who are at church who are very exuberant in their praise. But it's whimsical to very thought-provoking and serious as well. It spans the gamut with 10 different artists represented there. It will be there until, I believe it's March the 22nd. And so find your way over there and see some beautiful art. On Saturday, February the 28th, I too attended Read Across America. That is so much fun to read there. I, unlike Councilmember Judge, liked my book, which was Don't Press the Button. And you should see what happens when you do. That evening, I also attended the Military Tribute Gala, which was also raising funds for the wonderful work that is done there by our why am I going blank? For the troops. For the troops, yes. How could I forget? For the troops. I love the remarks. They specifically honed in on the Vietnam-era veterans, and it was just the remarks that were given really were wonderful and educating. Monday, March the 2nd, I too went and read at Burrowwood Elementary and got to read in Miss Julie Busco's 5th grade class. You know, 5th graders even enjoy picture books being read to them, which is fun. That entire week I was in Idaho visiting my parents. However, I was able through Zoom on Thursday, March the 5th to attend my SCAG's Energy Environment meeting. They rolled out the Regional Resilience Toolkit, which I hopefully was emailed to all of you. And then also later in the afternoon, attended the AWA board meeting where they elected new officers. Got back Friday night, but also stepped in for a short time to see the wonderful remembrance of Tommy Minadio. It was interesting to visit with, I think, Jason, I don't know, I have my titles very well, who's who was one of the captains at the station there, but Justin, Justin, he spoke about working with Tommy and how Tommy was an absolute breath of fresh air, always upbeat, and that he recalled how when he would look at his schedule and see that they were working together, he was always delighted to go to work. And so, too early a loss, anyway. So that concludes my report, but happy daylight savings times to all of you who lost our hour of sleep. And that's it.
Thank you. I'm going to sound like a real underachiever after all these reports. I had a pretty quiet 2 weeks here. I had a very busy time at my other job, so it worked out kind of perfectly. So Saturday, February 28th, I had the honor of attending Simi Youth Baseball's opening day. They have 825 players. I didn't realize it was that big, and they were all there on Saturday. Trust me, they were all there. But they come up from the Shetlands all the way up, and it was a lot of fun. Ty Hansen, he says it's his last year as president. We'll see. He has his last son graduating or aging out of the Pony League. So we'll see if he goes another year. There were also some nice remembrances for Kevin McGuigan, so that was very nice. I enjoy going to Simi Youth Baseball because my grandsons are there, so it really came out well. They did not have a game that day. They had a game the next days that I went to. And then my other thing was Saturday, March 7th, attending the Remembrance for Tommy Minadio and the unveiling of the plaque in front of Station 45. It was very moving in a lot of different ways. It was fun. They had a pancake breakfast. It was great to see so many first responders. I think every truck and engine was there, or apparatus was there. But it was really nice to see the gentleman that made the memorial area, the GSA workers from the county. They were so proud to be able to have done that for the fire department and for Tommy and all that stuff. So it was really, really a joy to be there. I met Tommy's mom and spoke with her for a while. She's a Royal graduate with my sister, so found that out. And they're a Simi Valley family, and it was just nice to see everybody there supporting them and being there for them. So that ends my report. And then tonight, 10B. I'm sorry. Are there any items for 10B? Things to add to the agenda?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have one. In preparation for our hearing on the short-term rentals ordinance, I'd like to get an actual professional survey and response from our community. I fear that we're hearing from a very loud 3 to 10 people and framing this choice in such a way as to create a false narrative. A well-written and executed survey would help tell us where the city actually stands. I have created a draft of some questions that I would like to know, but I'll defer to a professional pollster as to write the questions so as not to influence a particular outcome. And I'd like this survey to be completed in time to be included in the staff report for the short-term rentals.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and second. City Manager, thank you. Are there any other items for an agenda, future agenda? No. All right, thank you. Hearing none, we will be adjourning our meeting tonight in memory of Joe Lopez. So we're adjourned.